But now please give it up for our guests this morning. It's Lucy Green and the boys, Tom and Thomas! Welcome to the show, peeps. Thank you very much for coming in. Now, Lucy, we're talking about the massive European space mission, aren't we, today?
That's right. Venus Express was launched on the 9th of November and is currently hurtling its way through the solar system to get to Venus.
Exciting times, and we've got two space mad lads over there. Tom, why are you so fascinated with space?
Space is just so big and there's so much to learn out there.
OK, and how do you normally go about having a little investigation?
Sometimes on clear nights I'll have a look through my telescope.
Fantastic.
Very
so we've
good.
got a very keen pupil over here. And
worried,
look at
yeah.
the glint in Thomas's eye. He reckons he can try and catch you out here. Give her a question. Go for it.
How far is Venus from Earth?
Excellent question. Well, the distance actually varies. Both planets travel around the Sun, and Venus is a little bit closer to the Sun than the Earth is. And the distance varies between about 26 million miles to 160 million miles when a planet is on the other side of the Sun to the Earth. And that, in kilometres, is about 42 to 257 million kilometres away. So it varies by quite a big
Hang on
big
just
distance.
a minute. Carry 8, take over 150 times that by that. That's about 23.5 million football pitches as a point of reference just off the top of my head. I might be out by 1 or 2, but that's a long old way. How long will it take the actual probe to get to Venus then?
It takes quite a while actually, because it has to travel 260 million miles to reach Venus. So that takes about 5 months.
5 months? That's some journey there. Now, we've got some footage of the launch. Check this out. This isn't from Thunderbirds. This is the real launch. Look at that. It's a beautiful thing. I bet you'd like to have seen that through your telescope, Tom. Yeah, good stuff. Right. Question number 2 from Tom, please.
Okay.
How long does a Venus day last?
Good question again. A Venus day is really, really long, and it actually lasts 243 Earth days.
Wow.
So when Venus Express gets to Venus, it will only operate for 2 Venus days, but actually that's almost 500 Earth days.
That's incredible. So obviously you're going to try and find out a lot within that space of time, but what are you hoping to find?
We're hoping to find out whether there's active volcanoes on the planet, we're hoping to map the surface, and we're also hoping to understand why the temperatures have soared incredibly hot to up to 500 degrees.
OK, I've just seen Thomas's ears prick up one more time. You've got another question?
Why are there any people living on Venus?
Right, no people on Venus. Venus is an incredibly hostile planet. It's often known as Earth's evil twin sister. And that's because the temperatures are twice as hot as your oven, about 500 degrees C.
Wow.
So incredibly hot. You'd have to have a very good protective suit to last that. The atmosphere is also incredibly dense, and if you were to be able to walk on the planet, it would be like trying to walk through treacle. And to accompany that, if that's not enough, there's clouds of concentrated sulfuric acid. So you'd have to be able to prevent getting eaten away by the acid as well.
Oh, blimey. Right, OK, I'll tell you what, we've got a few experiments coming up later to try and kind of work out what it would be like there that we'd like to call serious science. Yes, nice. So make sure you tune us for that. You join us in the Exchange Lab now. We're under the supervision of Lucy Green, an expert in Venus. Yes, the planet Venus. And of course, I've got my science spods with me. Thomas and Tom there. Yes, taking science very seriously indeed. Now, we heard about Venus earlier on. Why anyone would want to go there, I do not know. It sounds vile. You could get crushed to death, couldn't you?
You could. It's a horrible, horrible, horrible place. And actually, Venus Express isn't going to go to the surface of the planet, but we have had spacecraft in the past land on the planet, and some of those didn't even manage to survive to landing because they were crushed by this really, really thick atmosphere. And I'm going to show you what it can do to a spacecraft, or even a human, if you were to land on the planet Venus. So, I have a balloon in my jar here, and what I'm going to do is push more air into my jar, so to increase the atmospheric pressure, and see what happens to the balloon when I do that. How does the size change?
I'm shrinking!
That was a balloon, by the way, making that. So, wow. So that could be like a spaceship in there, or that could have been one of us.
That's right, absolutely. So if you were to go to Venus, you'd have to have a really good suit to protect you from the crushing effects of the atmosphere.
So strong ribs, put that on your list if you're going. That's what you need. OK, so there's pressure. Tom, what would you like to learn about now?
You told us Venus is very hot. How are we going to learn about that?
Right, OK, so I have an experiment to show this, but you shouldn't do this at home because this is quite dangerous, and I have a soldering iron here. which has got really, really hot just at the tip. And actually the temperature, we can read it off here, it's 360 degrees C.
Yes, I wouldn't recommend you touch that.
No.
We have all the safety things in place here, guys, so watch and learn.
Absolutely. And if you remember earlier, I said that actually the surface of Venus is at 500 degrees, so it's even hotter than this soldering iron.
Twice the heat of your oven at home.
And I want to show you what happens to electronics when if you were to land on the surface of Venus. So
Okay.
this is just solder, and it's what you use when you make your spacecraft and solder everything together. So what happens to it? I touch them together, and the solder melts, turns into liquid. So you can see it there. So not good. So don't make the outside of your spacecraft of this. Instead, you can make it of aluminium, which has a much, much higher melting point. And if I touch that with my solder iron, the aluminium's fine, doesn't melt at all.
Okay, and we've actually got like kind of that, which is very, very light indeed, isn't it?
Yeah. So that's what we make spacecraft out of. Aluminium's light but strong.
A little offcut of that, Thomas. Just have a feel how light that is. Oh, there we go. Crushed to death and burnt to death on Venus. Oh, it's looking very welcoming. Thomas, what would you like to learn about now?
We've been told that the taste on Venus isn't very nice, but how can we demonstrate that?
Okay, bad taste in your mouth from Venus.
That's right. So Venus tastes bad because the atmosphere is made mostly of carbon dioxide, and that's the gas that's responsible for the huge temperatures as a greenhouse gas. So we've got some bottles of fizzy drink here, and this has lots and lots of carbon dioxide in the drink. It's what gives it the bubbles. So if I open this very carefully, try not to explode it, you should be able to smell and taste the carbon dioxide as it comes out.
What's that smell of, boys?
So,
Look at Tom's face like that. No, but don't make me smell it again, please. It's disgusting. Listen, thank you very much for that, Lucy. Very interesting indeed. I would imagine the conclusion of that is don't go to Venus. We'll just learn from Venus Express. All the very best with the mission. And thank you very much, my scientists, Thomas and Tom. Oh, we love that. We take our science very seriously here on Exchange.